if I need to. I know for the camera it needs more light. You can turn that. Are we live now? Okay. Streaming live from Sri Tijni Saraswat, West London chapter. Jai Shri Guru Deva ki Jai. The feet of Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhari Ji ki Jai. Jai Shri Guru Deva ki Jai. Jai Saraswati Ji ki Jai. All glories to all the servitors of the Lord. So we are here in London, and we are hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is our life, right? Sometimes we remember Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada's comments when he was crossing the Atlantic Ocean, right, on his way to America for the first time, and he came with for his own reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also incidentally a copy of Prapana Jivanamrita. But he mentioned in his diary its well-known statement about Chaitanya Charitamrita, the daily, I relish the words of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the source of my all vitality. Very, very beautiful expression. Daily I relish the words of Charitamrita, the source of my all vitality. When we hear, Shravanam, hearing, this is our first practice, right? Our first devotional practice. It's like when we hear this from this higher source of knowledge, it's like a recalibration takes place in our system, in our consciousness, and a realignment of, what's what, who's who, what's important, what's not important. Our frame of references tend to get a little crooked, a little wonky, in our priorities. Everything gets a little out of place. And then when we're hearing, and our gurus, guru means heavy, right? Why? Because they're heavy in the truth. They're always fixed. Their clarity is always, 100%. And so, but we're all, we hear, we tune in every now and again, and then we get contaminated by the material environment, material vision, material attachment, and so on. So everything gets taken out of place for us. So this is why we have to keep tuning in, keep hearing that and then everything's getting adjusted. Right, Srila Saraswati Thakur, in his last days, we hear he liked to use that expression. Religion means proper adjustment. This is what we are lacking: proper adjustment, properly adjusted vision. So this is why it's so important. We're hearing from these holy scriptures, hearing from our gurus, hearing from the higher Vaishnavas, and again, recontextualizing everything and recalibrating. Again, restoring that proper vision, proper focus. And so now we are in the middle of Sanatan Shiksha, chapter 20 of the Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahaprabhu instructing Srila Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami is known as the Acharya of Sambandha Gyan. Right? So again, this is what we're talking about, right? Sambandha Gyan, understanding what is what, who is who, where is where, what's left, what's right, Jai, what's up, what's down. This is Sambandha Gyan, right? Where do we fit? What's the big picture, and where do we fit in within that? This is Sambandha Gyan. So Sanatan Goswami, he is the Acharya of that. He has laid that out more clearly than anyone else. And that is and Mahaprabhu also instructed him in that. What is the true nature of reality? This is Sambandha Gyan. And so, these are the glasses that we want to wear, right? The glasses of Sambandha Gyan. And so, Sanatan Goswami is giving that. In these chapters in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu is giving instruction on that. What is the true nature of reality? And the beginning of this wonderful discourse is that famous statement, right? Well, actually, it all starts out with Sanatana Goswami asking 5 questions, which are right here. Ke ami, who am I? Kene ame jade tapachai. Why am I suffering from the 3 miseries of life? Iha nahi jani, kemona hita hoy. How can I achieve my real benefit? Now that's 4. Who am I? Why am I suffering? Oh, hang on. Sometimes I hear it's 5 questions, but actually I'm seeing 3. Oh no, but then the next verse. Okay, yeah. Then he asks about the sadhya and sadhana. Yeah, so who am I is the first question, right? This is the funny thing, right? In this world, we're all madly running here and there, trying to attain enjoyment or become free from suffering. That's kind of the story, isn't it? Like in a nutshell, what's the whole story of human existence? Trying to escape suffering or trying to enjoy, right? That's pretty much all it is, right? But before all that, before we start in that whole rat race or whatever, we should ask this question. Hang on, like, who am I actually? Because otherwise, any solutions, any objectives pertaining to these 2 pursuits of becoming free from suffering or achieving happiness, they're meaningless ultimately. If you haven't had that clear diagnosis, then all these things that we're running after would just be like some temporary band-aid solution, right? So here Sanatana Goswami is asking the question, right? Ke ami, who am I? Why am I suffering? How can I be benefited? And then the next questions in the next verse uses these words sadhya and sadhana, which are very helpful. Sadhya means what is the real goal of life? And then sadhana, what is the real practice? What is the real means of attaining that goal? So it all starts in these 5 questions. And then there's about 4 chapters where Mahaprabhu is instructing him in explaining, giving answers to these questions. That's how it all begins. And then, of course, one of the very first statements is the very well-known one, which every good Hare Krishna knows. Jiver Srupahoy Krishna Nityadas. The soul is an eternal servant of Krishna. So it all begins from there. So understanding who we are, what is the true nature of our environment, what is the highest worshipable deity, expression of divinity. And so we're in the middle of this section where Mahaprabhu is elaborating upon all these different expansions. Krishna is the source. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, as we like to say. He is the fountainhead of divinity. But then so many expansions are coming from him. And so we're in the middle of this discussion here. And there's this very nice verse we're just coming up to now, describing how other Krishnas, they're enchanted by the form of the original Krishna, right? Because Krishna is expanding in different forms, right? There are different Krishnas. But even they are captivated, they are charmed by the beauty of that original Vrindavan Krishna. So how beautiful he is, we cannot conceive. Okay, so we can hear. Dasa Vrindavanam Vande Krishna Dasa Prabhum Tata Chanavatar Chaitanya Lila Vishtar Kadino Do Nityananda Prabja Karunarena Bhushito Vyaktachano Burachincho Vavande Vyasarupino Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govindascha Ganaisaha Jayanti Patakaschacha Sarvesham Karunartina Swayam Ruper Gopavesh Gopapiman Vasudeva Kshatriya Vishami Kshatriya Gyan. In his original form, the Lord dresses like a cowherd boy and thinks himself one of them. When he appears as Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. His dress and consciousness are those of a kshatriya, a warrior. So this is a little confusing, but there are two Vasudevas, and Krishna, he's known as Vasudeva with the long A, and his father is Vasudeva with the short A. This is why diacritics are so important. And it's some grammatical thing, like it's so Vasudeva is indicating who comes from Vasudeva. We won't go too much into that. So this is what this Krishna who's mentioned here is also described sometimes as Mathura Krishna, right? So there's Vrindavan Krishna. This is his most original form. Swayam Rupa, this term is used. Swayam Rupa, his own form, his original form. That is Vrindavan Krishna. But then he has this other form which is really expanding from that original form. Vasudeva, Mathura Krishna, who appears in Mathura, born in Mathura. And that is in the mood of a kshatriya, warrior. Sundarya, Aishwarya, Madhurya, Vaidagya Vilas, Rajendra Nandane, Adika Ulas. When one compares the beauty, opulence, sweetness, and intellectual pastimes of Vasudeva, the warrior, to Krishna, the cowherd boy, son of Nanda Maharaj, one sees that Krishna's attributes are more pleasant. So if we are forced to make a comparison, then we must say that Vrindavan Krishna is more charming, more beautiful, more attractive. Of course, we're not qualified to make any kind of comparison here, but Kaviraj Goswami is, and we're just hearing. Of course, Mahaprabhu is making this comparison. So who could be more qualified? Govinder Madhuri Deki Vasudever Kob Se Madhuri Aswadite Upajai Lob. Indeed, Vasudeva is agitated just to see the sweetness of Govinda, and a transcendental greed awakens in him to enjoy that sweetness. So that Vasudeva, Krishna of Mathura, he becomes agitated to see the sweetness of Vrindavan Krishna, Govinda. Right? Govinda is indicating Vrindavan Krishna. Why? Because Govinda means who pleases the cows, right? So then now we have this Sanskrit verse of Rupa Goswami from the Lalita Madhava. And this is spoken by Mathura Krishna upon seeing some painting of Vrindavan Krishna, something like that. So let's hear that. Udgirnad bhuta madhuri parimalasya biralilasya me dvaitam hanta samikshayan mahoraso chichiyate charanaha chetakeli kutu halotara litam satyam sake mamakam yasya priksya sarupatam vrajavadu sarupyam anvichati. My dear friend, this dramatic actor appears like a second form of my own self. Like a picture, he displays my pastimes as a cowherd boy, overflowing with wonderfully attractive sweetness and fragrance, which are so dear to the damsels of Braja. When I see such a display, my heart becomes greatly agitated. I long for such pastimes and desire a form exactly like those of the damsels of Braja. Wow. He's saying, I wish I could be one of the gopis so I could enjoy this beautiful form of Krishna. Matarai jaiche gandharva nitya darashane punadvarakate jaiche chichavilokane. One instance of Vasudeva's attraction for Krishna occurred when Vasudeva saw the Gandharva dance at Mathura. Another instance occurred in Dwarka when Vasudeva was surprised to see a picture of Krishna. And here's another verse of Rupa Goswami spoken by Vasudeva in Dwarka. Apadikali tapurva kaschamadkar kari spuratu mama gariyan esha madhurya puraha ayam maham apihanta priksha yam lubda cheta sarabhasam upabhoktam kamaye radikeva. Who manifests an abundance of sweetness greater than mine, which has never been experienced before and which causes wonder to all? Alas, I myself, my mind's bewildered upon seeing this beauty, impetuously desired to enjoy it like Srimati Radharani. Sevapu, okay, back to our Bengali text now. Sevapu binabase kichu binakar, bhavave shakriti bede tarekatmanam tar. When that body is a little differently manifest and its features a little different in transcendental emotion and form, it is called tad ekatma. So some technicalities now. Tad ekatma rupe vilasvam sadui bed, vilasvam shabede vivida vibed. In the tad ekatma rupa there are pastime expansions, vilas, and personal expansions, swamsha. Consequently, there are two divisions. According to pastime and personal expansion, there are various differences. Prabhav Vaibhev Bede Vilas Tridakar Vilase Vilas Bed Ananta Prakar. Again, the Vilas forms are divided into twofold categories, Prabhav and Vaibhav. Again, the pastimes of these forms are of unlimited variety. Prabhavilas Vasudev Sankarshan Pradyumna Niruddha Mukhya Chadigjan. The chief quadruple expansions are named Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are called Prabhavilas. Brajagopa Bhav Ramer Pure Kshetriya Pavan Varnavesh Pedate Vilastarnam. Balaram, who has the same original form of Krishna, is himself a cowherd boy in Vrindavan, and he also considers himself to belong to the Kshatriya race in Dwarka. Thus his color and dress are different, and he is called a pastime form of Krishna. Vaibhav Prakashaya Prabhav Vilase Ekai Murti Baladev Bhav Bede Batse. Sri Balaram is a Vaibhav Prakash manifestation of Krishna. He is also manifest in the original quadruple expansion of Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are Prabhav Vilas expansions with different emotions. Adi Chatur Vyuha Ihar Keo Nahi Sam Ananta Chatur Vyuha Ganer Prakatya Karan. The first expansion of the Chaturvyuha quadruple forms is unique. There is nothing to compare with them. These quadruple forms are the source of unlimited quadruple forms. Krishna Chari Prabhavilas Dwaraka Mathura Pode Niti Harvas. These four Prabhav pastime forms of Lord Krishna reside eternally in Dwarka and Mathura. Echari hoite chabish murti parakash astrabere named Vaibhav Vilas. From the original quadruple expansion, 24 forms are manifest. They differ according to the placement of weapons in their four hands. They are called Vaibhav Vilas. Puna Krishna Chatur Vyuha Loya Purva Rupe Paravo Madhya Vaisen Arayana Rupe. Lord Krishna again expands, and within the Paravom, the spiritual sky, he is situated in fullness as the four-handed Narayan, accompanied by expansions of the original quadruple form. Taha hoite puna chatur vyuha parakash shavaran rupe chari dike jarvas. Thus the original quadruple forms again manifest themselves in the second quadruple expansion. The residents of these second quadruple expansions cover the four directions. Chari janer punapita tin tin murti keshavadi jaha hoite vilaser porti. Again these quadruple forms expand 3 times, beginning with Keshava. That is the fulfillment of the pastime forms. Chakradi Dadambede Nambeda Sab Vasudeva Murti Keshav Nadayan Madhav. Out of the Chaturvyuha, there are 3 expansions of each and every form, and they are named differently according to the position of the weapons. Oh, if we come to that section.
Names all the different,
all the different
arrangements.
Right. Is that... That's right. Is that where we are? Let me see. Wow. I think that might be coming up. Yeah, this is quite a technical part of Chaitanya Charitamrita. No, I don't think we're quite at that part. Okay, it's coming up. We may not get there today. It's coming up. Maybe tomorrow. Okay, so I've never fully understood. Maybe Gadadhar Prabhu can say something on this Chaturvyuha, right? These 4 expansions. I mean, as I understand, like they're like special expansions of Krishna to expand his divine play, and they have a form in Mathura and Dwarka as Krishna, Balaram, Krishna's son. Is Pradyumna, I always mix up, is Pradyumna his son or is it Aniruddha? One is his son and one is his grandson, right? Pradyumna and Aniruddha. And that's kind of like their original form in Vrindavan, Dwarka and Mathura. And then they have all these other expansions, and they also have some play in Vaikuntha. And it's actually unlimited. There's like a 24 that expand from that 4, and then I think there are like unlimited ones. And they preside over different areas of Vaikuntha. And Narayan is also included, as I understand, within those expansions. But it's always been a little hazy to me. I don't know if you want to add anything.
I mean, they have their place in a scheme of like infinite divine personalities that come out from Swayam Bhagavan Krishna.
Right.
And Mahaprabhu is like giving them technical classifications, ontological technical classifications. And you really have to apply yourself to memorize it all.
Right.
And unless you were teaching it, you would forget it again, because it's not really part of practical application
right.
a devotee's life.
Right,
all, really.
Right.
But, as you of course know, the point being to illustrate the position, the ultimate topmost position of Krishna's Swayam Bhagavan Krishna in Vrindavan. You show how all of these other who are in themselves God are emanating from Krishna, but subservient, secondary or tertiary to Krishna. That'll be just finish that. And I think, if that is understood, then you've got the gist of what Mahaprabhu is presenting. For those that want to understand the technical, the framework, it's relatively complex, and it's made even more complex because unless you're familiar with the original Sanskrit terminology,
right.
sometimes some arcane words are used to
translate.
In the translation. Like, what does that mean? Like
right.
A plenary portion. I mean, a portion, but a plenary. What is a plenary portion? So you can kind of get some idea, but they're kind of obscure words. Whereas if you're familiar perhaps with the Sanskrit, you'd have more of an idea.
Right.
But even then, back to the point, they're not of much practical application in a devotee's life. And I think you might want to learn them by rote for, if to satisfy some intellectual curiosity perhaps, a need to know. But, the basic idea is that they're coming from Krishna, emanating out to facilitate the pastimes of Krishna with his devotees in various capacities. From Madhura Leela in Vrindavan to the various other Leelas Aishwarya basically was of Vaikuntha, etc. There needs to be expansions to facilitate those plays of Krishna, those pastimes of Krishna.
It's a nice way of putting it.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't bothered trying to remember all the various technical categories. To me, it's a little confusing, and I haven't.
Yeah, it's very confusing. Yeah.
Spend enough time to really try to memorize it. Then, like I said, I'd probably forget unless I repeated it. What, make a sloka out of it and repeat it or something.
Yeah, it's a little funny, isn't it, for us, But I mean, it's interesting. I mean, like for us, it is all just like kind of bewildering, right? But for high level Vaishnava, this is all quite relishable, Shuddha Shava Prabhu told me that once he asked Gurudev about this particular section in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and asked Gurudev, why does Mahaprabhu give this elaborate description of all these different expansions, and in particular there's that section which can get really confusing, describing all the different placements of the instruments that the different Vishnus are carrying, right? Like the club, conch, disc, chakra, right? And then there's chakra, disc, club, conch, and all that. And so he asked Gurudev about that, and why is that there? Why is this important? And Gurudev didn't answer him, but Gurudev, he just started very happily reciting that whole section. Gurudev had it all memorized, and he was relishing it, just chanting all those verses. It's like for him, it's just why is that a question? This is wonderful. It's wonderful to hear. And for us, we're huh? For us, this is a technical explanation that's kind of over our head. But for for the real Gaura Bhaktas, devotees of the Lord, this is they're very happy to hear all this, right? It all means something to them. So. I mean, for myself, I suppose what I get from, I don't even think of even trying to learn all of this. It doesn't feel relevant at all. And it'd be difficult to memorize even if I wanted to. But what I take away from this is just, you get this broader, scope, right? You get this broader vision of, where, how everything fits together, and you get some sense of the the science behind all of this, and so it just kind of broadens your scope of the nature of reality. What's our conception of the nature of reality? It's like a textbook, you you go through a physics textbook, and it's just oh wow, cool, nice to know, even though you won't really understand it, or at least myself. But it just kind of broadens your sense of understanding, what's what. So that's my takeaway. It's not the most relishable section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it is. It's helpful, and this is something that's very nice about Chaitanya Charitamrita. We need to have some sense of these things, otherwise it's. If we're just focusing in on the juicy stuff, like the rasa, then you run a risk of becoming a little sahaja, right? Imitation is just focusing on that. We need to have some sense of the ontological foundation, the philosophy, the science that's beneath, on the foundation of all that sweetness, right? And the leela's built upon. This is kind of like the stage. And then the Leela is the the beautiful play that you're actually appreciating and relishing. So we have both. Our gurus are giving us both. So having said that, we are at 8:00. We can read a little bit more before we close for today. And you can find on the internet charts for anyone who wants. I have come across, which is a little helpful to see how it all fits together. Some visual idea of all these different expansions. Where did we drop off? Anjali Didi's with us. Okay, I'm not sure where we dropped off. In the Tade Katma Rupa, there are pastime expansions, vilas, and personal expansions, swamsha. Consequently, there are two divisions. According to pastime and personal expansion, there are various differences. Prabhav Vaibhav Bed, Vilas Tridakar, Vilaser Vilas Bed, Ananta Prakar. Again, the vilas forms are divided into twofold categories, Prabhav and Vaibhav. Again, the pastimes of these forms are of unlimited variety. Prabhav Vilas Vasudev Sankarshan, Pradyumna Niruddha Mukhya Chadijan. The chief quadruple expansions are Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are called Prabhav Vilas. Prajagopa Bhavramer Pure Ketriya Bhavan Varnavesh Tate Vilas Tarnam. Balaram, who has the same original form of Krishna, is himself a cowherd boy in Vrindavan, and he also considers himself to belong to the Kshatriya race in Dwarka. Thus his color and dress are different, and he is called a pastime form of Krishna. I feel like I already read that. I'm trying to get lost in all this. Shri Balaram is a Vaibhav Prakas manifestation of Krishna. He is also manifest in the original quadruple expansion of Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are Prabhav Vilas expansions with different emotions. I think I read all of that. Where did I leave off? The original quadruple forms again manifest in the second quadruple expansion. Again, these quadruple forms expand 3 times, beginning with Keshava. Out of the Chaturvyuha, there are 3 expansions of each and every form, and they are named differently according to the position of the weapons. I think that's where we left off. The Vasudeva expansions are Keshava, Narayan, and Madhava. So each of these 4, these Chaturvyuha, right? Sankarshan, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, each of them expands further. And they all have different names, and they have different placement of their weapons. So I hope everyone's taking notes. There is going to be a test. The expansions of Sankarshan are Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudan. And these are also the names of the months that we follow. So there's this principle, is it 24? Or 12? How many months are there in our calendar?
12.
Is
it's
it 12?
Explained later in this chapter.
Okay. Yeah, so it's 12 also.
Yeah, 12 names.
Apart from when we have the extra Purushottam.
Yeah, well that's once every
30.
32 months or something.
Right.
So we have 2 and 30 years.
Right. Okay. So the expansions of Sankarshan, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudan. This Govinda is different from the original Govinda, for he is not the son of Maharshi Nanda. The expansions of Pradyumna are Trivikram, Vaman, and Sridhar. The expansions of Aniruddha are Rishikesh, Padmanabh, and Damodar. These 12 are the predominating deities of the 12 months. And these are also the 12 names that we use and we invoke when we're doing the tilaks, right? The 12 tilaks, which I don't do as often as I should, I must confess. Keshava is the predominating deity of Agrahayan, and Narayan is the predominating deity of Posha. So each of these 12 months have a predominating deity. And in our calendar, don't we just call the month by the name of that deity? Or do we? And I think in our Vaishnava calendar, we don't even mention like the standard name of the month, do we? No, we don't. So it's really wonderful, isn't it? like this is something I've been thinking a lot about recently. How like the more you become more Krishna conscious, the more personal everything becomes, right? So it's like even the time, right? The months they're all presided over by a particular deity. How beautiful. We're just so full of unconsciousness, or I'm full of unconsciousness. But that would be a beautiful meditation, for conscious persons. And now I don't even know what month we're in. What month are we?
Well, it's the one before Kartik called Ashwin.
Okay.
And in the Ashwin is Padmanabha.
Padmanabha, okay. Oh. The word. So that would be a wonderful meditation. We're in the month of Padmanabha right now.
Soon to begin the month of Damodar. In a few days.
Okay, so Damodar is the deity presiding over the month of Kartik.
Yeah.
And are they the same? The dates are the same? Same.
Yeah. I mean, if you take it starting from, there's 2 calendar systems in India. One starts from the new moon, and one starts from the full moon. So the new moon is called Amanta after Amavasya. Actually, it's the old moon, but when the moon is a sliver conjoined the sun. And the other one is when the moon is opposite the sun, the full moon, known as Purnimanta.
Okay.
And the Gaudiya Vaishnava calendar follows Purnimanta. But some calendars in South India, you'll use, like, I think the Ramanuja Sampradaya, they might follow an Amanta calendar.
Okay.
And so it's the same months, but one starts 15 days after the other.
Okay.
Of course, they can't start at the same time.
Right.
So, for instance, in Kartik, that would start 15 days later. If you're following the Amanta calendar, the month of Kartik would start on the Amavasya following the Purnim. So about 2 weeks later, 15 days
so
later. If you
South Indian Vaishnavas, their calculation of Kartik will be different, generally.
I'm not exactly sure if the Ramanuja Sampradaya uses Amanta calendar.
Okay,
but
there are some.
It's prevalent in South India.
Okay.
The Amanta calendar.
I see.
That is possible, yeah.
So now we are in the month of Padmanabha. Yeah. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that you said it's from the full moon, right?
In our calendar.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a mention like that on our calendars, about, especially in regards to Kartik, I remember. If you're following, maybe that's something a little different.
Well, it's mentioned in relation to Kartik because some Vaishnavas follow it from Kartik starts on Ekadasi.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
And I'm not sure if it's the Ekadasi preceding Kartik, which
or
is
the
tomorrow,
one after,
or the after tomorrow, or the first one, and after the full moon, when we would normally start Kartik.
Right.
Next one.
On Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday. So mark your calendar, everyone. It's coming Saturday, first day of Kartik, first month of Damodar. And what else? It's also Saturday, which is an auspicious day. Mahaprabhu was born on a Saturday. And I think Param Guru Maharaj was also born on a Saturday. So this is a whole new... See, it's a Krishna consciousness, Nava Yovanam, ever fresh. So I'm going to remember this now. Every month. It's presided over by one of these Vishnu deities. So it's the beginning of Damodar also. And now this is another funny thing, because this Damodar is different from the Krishna Damodar of Vrindavan, right? But at the same time, the meaning of Damodar, there must be some link there, because the meaning of Damodar is like being bound around the belly. So there must be some link there, why that name was chosen. Because that Damodar is referring to a Vishnu deity Damodar. But it's also the month, because we're told it's during that month that Krishna was bound around the belly, that pastime took place. Mother Jashoda bound him, so there must be some link there. why that name was chosen for that. That deity was chosen, it must
I
be.
wondered whether, because this is told by Mahaprabhu to Sanatan, right, these names for the months, and I'm wondering if Mahaprabhu is referencing a scripture from somewhere, or if he is just...
He chose that
introduced
himself.
it.
Right. Right. Maybe like
because when he's talking about the formations of the Conch Club disclosures, there is a mention, either it's in one of the purports of Prabhupada, or it's mentioned, referenced in one of the verses themselves, how Mahaprabhu himself is referencing some scripture somewhere where it's written down.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that might also apply to other elements of the chapter, i.e. the names of the months being given the names of the Vishnu avatars.
Right.
Well, not Vishnu avatars,
Right.
but these expansions of Krishna.
Right. Okay. So Keshava is the predominating deity of Agrahayan. Agrahayan is like November, December.
Agrahayan is also known as Margashira.
Okay.
Yes, it's the month after
Kartik, right. Narayan is the predominating deity of Posha, which is December, January. Predominating deity for the month of Magh, January, February, is Madhava. Predominating deity for the month of Falgun is Govinda. Now Falgun is special for us because, I know you know, yes, exactly, yeah. Month of Falgun, Mahaprabhu's appearance, February, March. So that's the only month I usually remember. Chaitra, March, April, predominating deity is Vishnu. Madhusudan is the predominating deity for Vishakha, April, May. I'm just kind of reading translations because the verses are pretty much the same. They're just mentioning the names in Sanskrit. In the month of Jaishta, which is May, June, predominating deity is Trivikram. And Trivikram is also a name for Vamanadev, right? Dwarf avatar. Trivikram, 3 steps is the meaning of that name because he covered everything in 3 steps. In Ashad, I've never even heard that name, Ashad, that I recall, June, July. Deity is Vamana. In Shravan, that's like the rainy season, right? July, August, monsoon season. Deity is Sridhar. And in...
Chaitra.
Right, yeah, Chaitra was Vishnu. And in Bhadra, the deity is Rishikesh. That's August, September. In the month of Ashvin, September, October. So that's what we're in. No, we're in Padmanabha, sorry. Predominant deity is Padmanabha. Yeah, so we're in that now, yeah, Ashvin. And in Kartik, it is Damodar. This Damodar is different from Radha Damodar, the son of Nanda Maharshi Vrindavan. Just read a couple. It's starting to get really captivating now. See, it's starting to get more interesting. It's getting more juicy. Dwadash tilak manche, dwadashanam, achamane namis parshita tatstam. When putting the 12 tilak marks on the 12 places of the body, one has to chant the mantra consisting of these 12 Vishnu names. After daily worship, when one anoints the different parts of the body with water, these names should be chanted as one touches each part of the body. It's a very nice thing. I really need to do it more often. It's very beautiful to do. To mark our body, making our body a temple of the Lord. And I'm going to read this purport here, this is a mantra which sometimes we chant when we're doing these 12 markings. Lala, many of you know this by heart, I'm sure. Lalate Keshavam Jayan Narayana, I used to know by heart. Narayana Matodare Vakshastale Madhavam to Govindam Kanto. So it's just naming, telling the names that you mark each part, right? So, Keshava for the forehead. Vishnum cha dakine kuksho baho cha madhusudan, so the right arm, left arm, and so on. Trivikramam kandade to vamanam vama parshvake, Sridharam vama bahu to Rishikesham to kandade, Pishte cha padmanabam cha katyam damodaram yasaid. When one marks the forehead with tilak, he must remember Keshava. When one marks the lower abdomen, he must remember Narayan. For the chest, one should remember Madhava, and when marking the hollow of the neck, one should remember Govinda. Lord Vishnu should be remembered while marking the right side of the belly, and Madhusudan should be remembered when marking the right arm. Trivikram should be remembered when marking the right shoulder, and Vamana should be remembered when marking the left side of the belly. Sridhar should be remembered while marking the left arm, and Rishikesh should be remembered when marking the left shoulder. Padmanabha and Damodar should be remembered when marking the back. Echari jana vilas murti ashtajan tasaba namakohi shunu sanatan. From Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, there are 8 additional pastime expansions. O Sanatan, please hear me as I mention their names. You have to wait for tomorrow, folks. And end on a cliffhanger. What are those 8 names? Okay, this will stop there. Is this a good time to stop? Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Shri Krishna's Kavi Raj Goswami Ki Jai. Who has enchanted? Vanyati, do you want to sing Hari Raya?
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana.
Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Raghunath.
Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Raghunath.
Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghunath.
Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghunath.
Jai Jai Gauri Charana Vandana.
Jai Jai Gauri Charana Vandana.
Yahweh Big Kristi Sukru Gangara, the Gita Hari Ki Jai, Jai Vishwabha Hamsa Prabhupada Stars at the Simon Bhakti Nimal Jai Ki Jai, Jai Vishwabha Hamsa Prabhupada Stars at the Simon Bhakti Sindhu Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Vishwabha Hamsa Prabhupada Stars at the Simon Bhakti Rakshat Sudadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Rupanika Gurvaga Ki Jai, Namashala Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, all the universal devotees Ki Jai, Jai Guru Premanandi Hari, Vishakha Devi Ki Jai, Gadada Prabhu Ki Jai, Anjali Devi Ki Jai, Jai Gurudev. Where do these little guys live?
From Vila Govinda Ashram on a beautiful morning, quiet morning.
So Devi, going back to this internet issue, what about the internet?